everyone. This is Adrienne from Fave Consulting. So you already know, if you see the screen, it's me, it's Jamaal. You know Crypto J is here. So what are we here to talk about? Crypto, right? So it's the 36 chambers of crypto taxes. So today we have an interesting topic. Jamaal, what do you have for us?
By the way, I'm not going to take out that outtake. I'm going to keep it in.
Please
You wasn't ready for the intro. You was perfect with the intro. You wasn't ready, so this is historical, and I'm going to keep it in.
We're
You
going to
probably
put it
take
at
it
the
out.
end.
Nah, I know you're gonna have your editor to take it out, but on my end, I'm keeping it. But anyway, guys, so listen, I was kind of interested because we just learned last week that the government, the IRS, sent out I think it's called a what is it, John Doe summons? Basically, meaning if you get a John Doe summons, you need to get your lawyer ASAP. But we're not going to get into that. So they got a summons to this bank that supposedly have addresses of people, crypto values, and assets and stuff like that. And they applying a lot of pressure on them. And listen, guys, from the insiders that I'm talking about, it's coming. Right, all you saying, Adrian, Jamaal, you just trying to have us become your clients and do amended. No, 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 no. We're not BSing you. It's coming. And that led me to something called a 1099 DA. Now, if you ever did a tax return more than a W-2, you know that there's probably a lot of 1099 forms. You got, if you have interest, 1099 INT, dividends, 1099 DIV, miscellaneous, EAC.
1099K.
Yeah, it's just all over the place. So now the IRS is like, you know what? We're going to add crypto to it. So now, it's probably starting next year, they're going to have something called a 1099 DA, which is for digital assets. Now, the big deal is, so let's say you on Coinbase and you sold 20K. Coinbase is going to give you a 1099 DA to say, okay, 20,000. But here's where me and Adrian was talking about. Does that really help you? Not really, because you just don't want to get taxed on that. So now the most important thing is the cost basis. So this is why we've been preaching every single video to really think of some type of way to keep track of it. Are you that person, that type A, that's so good with the cost basis and you give us the sheets and
Yep.
more power to you. But if you're that person like, yo, man, I just spend it and buy it, you need to have a conversation with your tax accountant now. Adrian, what do you think about that?
So where I want to take a step back, because people are like, oh, 1099, like the whole big thing for 2022 was the 1099K. And that's going to be, everyone who is getting Zells and PayPals and all those things. Like if you had PayPal, you were probably getting that 1099K before anyway, but Zelle and Cash App, that's going to be new for some people. And some people operate their entire business on that. So it's kind of the same thing. So let's talk about like these 1099s. You can receive a 1099 in the mail. Do not ignore it, because when you get something in the mail, that means the IRS got something in the mail as well. So this whole 1099 DA, it's really important, because that means if a copy got sent to you, a copy got sent to the IRS. So they already know it happened, and you don't want them to recalculate things for you. You don't want to think you're getting a return and then all of a sudden you get that letter in the mail. Actually, you owe us money because you forgot X, Y, and Z. So it's just better to just get ahead of things. Like we said before, organization. If you're not type A, if you're type B, C, D, and Z, find a type A to help you and support you with getting things organized, because at the end of the day, this is how the systems work. They look at what's being reported to them to know what you have going on. Yes, there's certain times where, let's say it's cash or whatever the case, I'm going to tell you to report it, right? At the end of the day, you don't want to get audited, X, Y, and Z. We want to avoid these things. Same thing goes for your crypto and your digital assets. Report it. If you're unsure or unclear as to what needs to be reported, listen to the podcast, listen to the YouTube, give us a call, email us, schedule a calendar invite, smoke signal, carrier, like whatever you have to do, get with someone that knows and can help you get organized. It is important to do it before the end of the year, because you don't want to scramble to try and find this information later on, especially if you're someone who's doing a lot of transactions. That could be a lot of work. So
But real quick, let me just go over the scenario, how it would look like financially if you didn't record it and the IRS get your letter. So let's say you pay your tax accountant $250. You didn't go to the right person. Hey, maybe you did it yourself. Maybe you said free 99, I'm with it. Boom. You didn't file what you're supposed to do. You got an IRS letter say, hey, by the way, we got this 1099 that said you sold 30K. Let's see how that's going to affect you financially. I wouldn't recommend you talk to the IRS by yourself because one slip up, they're going to you just think about 2021, 2022, and then you slip up and say 2019, boom, they auditing you about that. So now you got to pay someone not to only amend your tax returns, fancy word for to change. Now you need to pay somebody to represent you. Representation in front of the IRS
Very
is
expensive.
not cheap. So you want to save your money before then because the letters are coming. So save yourself the headache and the heartaches and the money to do it right the first time.
Also, I'm talking about representation. So this is not a wholesale pitch, but consider adding audit protection to your tax return. So if you work with a tax preparer that offers audit protection, it's basically them like you prepaying for them to represent you if you receive any notices, if you even down to, hey, you need an offer in compromise, they'll actually assist you with getting that done at a fraction of the cost it would cost if you went to go ask someone after the fact. And it's actually normally pretty affordable when you add it to your tax return at the time of filing, as opposed to trying to, find someone to represent you who's going to be billing you by the hour later on. So audit protection, maybe in the first or second year, first couple of years as this transaction is happening, this change is happening with these 1099s DAs. This might be a good time if you have a lot of crypto assets that you might want to add audit protection to your return in case the IRS goes back to say, we want to audit some of these things. So
yeah, and one last thing, because she brought up a good point. When it comes to audit protection, I know we fall into the trap that you Google the first page and then you go to this humongous company. And I work for one of those companies. They start like at 5,000. But here's the secret, guys. I'm going to put you on the game. What they do, they outsource to local tax accountant, hence how I got into it. So don't disregard your local tax accountant because you could be paying triple the amount only to be dealing with that same person. So before you go into Google page one, which they pay millions of dollars for, say, who's in Freeport, New York, or Baldwin, New York that could represent me?
yeah.
Then you start from there. Don't start from Google page one because I ain't got no page one advertising money. I don't think Adrian has it. But they outsourced it. They outsource it to local tax accountants, and that's how they do it. So don't disregard local people.
Yeah. But I know this video was a little long this week, but
Passionate.
It was good information. So that's everything we have for this week. We will be back. Again, like, subscribe, share, tell people about the page. If you enjoy the content, definitely follow us on social media. We appreciate that. And until next time, we'll see you.
Peace.